He is out there. Somewhere. Waiting. An animal. Stalking human prey.
Is there anyone there?
Debbie.
Why don't you leave me alone, will you? I'm not interested. I don't want to hear it. Creep.
I'm gonna kill you, Debbie.
Soon, he will strike again. Don't look behind you. Don't answer the phone. Don't open the door. And don't, whatever you do, look into the eyes of a stranger.
Anything can happen when you're alone in the dark. Anything.
What happened?
It came through the window.
What came through the window?
Why is this happening?
Alone in the dark. Rated R.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on? I am Chrissy, the Slasher Dude, joined by my cohort, Darren. Slasher Dude's here, Slasher Stream, episode 4, where we are going to be talking about, in my opinion, after watching these for the first time, these are upper echelon slashers. These are, like I said, Dead Pit, the Boss over there, probably do their Tears for Fears on these, but these would have to be top tier. This is S tier, in my opinion. We're talking about Eyes of the Stranger today, and we are also talking about Alone in the Dark. Eyes of the Stranger, 1981, and Alone in the Dark, 1982. Both of those have Tom Savini in them. Alone in the Dark, just for one scene in particular, which me and Darren are going to discuss. And we're going to start here in a second, but how you doing there, Darren?
Not too bad, not too bad. Looking forward to this one as always. These two, because we spoke about these quite a bit in the past, and these two have always been two of my favorites. So, yeah, it's going to get a lot of love tonight, these two films.
Yeah, absolutely. Off topic a little bit, we got some news today from Severin.
Yeah.
So we're getting probably the release of the year. If everything goes according to whatever like that, this might be release of the year. I'm talking about Dario Argento's opera. To me, his last very good giallo to great, in my opinion, probably his last. It's yeah. I have two editions. Of course, I have the Blu-ray that Scorpion released way back in the day. I have the German media book. Me and Dirk both have those. Yeah, this might be a triple dip. I mean, it looks really nice.
This is going to be, yeah, like you say, I think this will actually be the release of the year in all like subgenres of film. But for me, like opera is like got a special place in my heart because it's overtaken Suspiria as my favorite, probably my favorite giallo. A lot like Stroke with kind of Don't Touch a Duckling. There's not too much in it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, this is possibly one of my favorite films, if not my favorite film now, opera. It's just kept going on and up in my estimation. But that I can't wait to get that edition because you've got the lead actress as well. I think she's going to be in the extras.
Yeah, that'd be a first. I think what you and I were talking about.
Right,
that'd be a first on a disc.
She's never talked about the film before in any way. I don't even think websites or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, because she got emotional, didn't she, in the Panico documentary?
Yes, she did. Yeah, we're all wondering about that. Yeah, when we first saw it, I'm like, she like literally broke down, and I'm like, yeah.
I'm guessing it was just because they didn't get on They really clashed, her and Argento during filming. I mean, I don't think there's anything untoward went on behind the scenes, but I just think they just two passionate people who kind of clashed. And with her not seeing Argento and coming back to that documentary, she kind of just all let it all out, like, started crying. But that's a good sign now because, like you say, she's up now in the extras for this. So yeah, maybe she'll come out publicly more and start talking more about,
Yeah. Knowing Severin,
so-
they do great stuff. I know they get shit on for rightfully good reasons for a lot of things, but their transfers are very good. Yeah, they were my boutique company of the year for last year for 2023. I mean, you get films like The Psychic. That's a Lost Fulci film. It's like literally Four Flies before that. So, they're picking and choosing quite well. The films of Mr. Suave and, just a really good stuff. I'm going to get started here in a second. I'm going to check the chat here real quick. We got Video Man Gizmo, who has a stream coming up in another 20-something minutes. How is it going there, Giz? Check out this channel. Great stuff. Really good director. Does some stuff like Christmas Blood. I highly recommend. I really like that as a Christmas slasher. It's very good. My man Keith Gorifa, what's going on, my man? Thanks for dropping in, saying hi. Got Mr. Oates. We can officially start.
Holland.
How you doing, Holland? Jane Doe Lady, what is going on? The coolest mom here on YouTube. Thank you very much. I still need to watch my Geeky. I'm going to do that. I promise. I promise, Mom. I'm going to watch it. Trust me. Got Corey in the house, but yeah, he says it's state night. Hey, that's okay. That comes first.
Yeah, what's up, Corey?
Happy day, happy life.
Absolutely,
happy life.
man. Yeah.
Very early happy Father's Day to all the dads out there too, by the way. That is coming up this Sunday. And yeah, badass dads and just doing your thing. So we appreciate that. So we're going to get started here with 1981's Eyes of the Stranger, directed by Ken Wiederhorn. I believe I said that right. He also did, and you'll see this playing in one of the scenes on the TV. He did Shockwaves, which is a Nazi zombie film.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
We have
he also did Return of the Living Dead Part 2 as well.
Part 2, okay. Stars Lauren Tews as Jane Harris, Jennifer Jason Leigh in her debut as Tracy Harris, and John DeSanti, excuse me, as Stanley Herbert. And makeup effects by Tom Savini. So this is when he was, he explains it. Good extra talking to him. It's one of the better interviews he's done. Where he kind of talks about that, going through F-13, the burning, I'll take the work and stuff like that. And makeup effects by him. Writers Ron Kurtz, who also wrote earlier F-13 films. So we have some Friday 13th alumni in here, which is very cool. Filmed in Miami, Florida. Just all in all, a great, great. Like you said, Darren, this is like a quintessential kind of slasher, kind of set the
you've got the best. That's the best edition as well. You've got. I first watched it on this edition. Look at the artwork on that.
That's great. Oh yeah, I remember those releases. Yeah,
Twisted Terror collection. There was like 5 films.
Yeah,
and it's bare bones basically. But
bare bones. Yeah.
This one blows it out the park.
Yeah, it does. I had to replace. This is a replacement case. Because it came in an Echo case. Yeah, I'm not having that bullshit.
Mine's an Echo case. Yeah. This one's a great one to start with. Always been, like I remember watching this because I would actually put this as like if someone wasn't into slasher films that I knew, and I had to try and pick one out for them to like convert them, this would be it. Because this is just got everything like a blueprint slasher should have. I think you mentioned like off air, or it might have been just as we come on air. You've got to put this in with the likes of Maniac, Don't Go in the House. And it doesn't get talked about at all, like, which is crazy. Hopefully we can start talking about it and getting people, to watch it a bit more. I think Chris has just gone off there.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Yeah.
One of the upstairs neighbors moved out and stuff like that, so I had to just close the window a little bit. So if you hear sweeping or whatever like that, fixing up, I do apologize. But
No worries, man. No worries.
But yeah, just go ahead and start us off here with this one, Darren. I know you really love this film.
Yeah, like I say, I've got great things to say about this one. So it's directed by Ken Wiederhorn, which Chris has said. He also did like 7 episodes of Freddy's Nightmares.
Yeah.
Back I think 89 to 1990. But yeah, so you've got this TV newswoman, played by Lauren Chewers. Is that how you say it? Chewers?
Yeah, from The Love Boat.
Yeah, very famous actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time. She suspects that this man, played by John DeSante, who's absolutely fabulous, by the way, as a serial killer.
Oh, God, he's so good.
Yeah.
Big man. Very big dude.
Very big
He was in a knockoff movie of Animal House. And great interview with him on this. This has great special features. Great interview with him. The dude's hilarious. Very cool, talking about what happens on set and all this good stuff. So.
The way he actually come about getting the role was quite interesting as well, because he was on that Animal House knockoff King Frat.
Yeah.
But what he did one night, he stayed, he's like really good friends with the director, and he phoned up Ken Wiederhorn, I think it was, one night, and he gave him like a creepy phone call, like a prank call.
Yeah. Hi, Debbie.
And he said, I'm gonna, and like Ken Wiederhorn listened to that, and he said, That's the guy I want. I want him to play the lead part in this.
He said he called again and his wife answered, and he goes, "Is he okay?" and stuff like that. And he goes, "Dude, you freaked him out and all this other stuff too."
Yeah,
so really cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've got this newswoman. She kind of stumbles upon this serial killer. We'll go through the film in detail. Like, this is just like a quick sort of synopsis. She stumbles upon this guy. She gets her suspicions. There's a lot of like kind of Rear Window in there, Hitchcock, if you think about it. So basically, so she starts basically turning the tables, and she's phoning him and telling him that she knows he's killing these people,
As he calls him a phone freak. And,
yeah,
that comes back to bite her in the ass later.
It does, yeah. And all, like you say, needless to say, all these young women are getting, hacked and slashed up like right and left. Even, this courting couple at the start, which we'll come into a bit later.
Oh yeah.
But you've got Jennifer Jason Leigh. She plays the sister. She's had this big trauma, in childhood that's left her unable to speak or see.
She's mute.
Yeah. So the killer basically targets her. So yeah, that's kind of a quick kind of synopsis, but we can go more in detail as well.
I'll say when we start, this is one of the greatest opening kills I've ever seen. That whole leading up is some of the best stuff you will ever see in a slasher. This rivals House by the Cemetery. This rivals Friday the 13th, the start of that. This rivals those pretty darn good. So it's I mean, wow. Everything was done perfectly. The way they describe those scenes too, what we're going to talk about here in a minute. I mean, it's like you can't just this just happens, like this. You can't plan greatness like this. It just happens,
Yeah, this is dark as well. There's no humor in this at all.
Not at all.
This is really,
It gets really creepy, really dark, really quickly.
Really quickly. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if you want to just quickly go on the chat and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I know Tex is in there. Hey, Tex.
Yeah, I see Tex in here. See Uncle Tony in here. What's going on, Basement
Hey,
Blues?
Tony.
If you haven't checked them out, I don't know what you're all doing. Of course, Texas Hardcore, aka Texas the Hardcore Champ. Thanks for joining,
subscribe, all their channels.
Very cool.
Everyone.
Yeah. Does great watch-alongs, great knowledge on films, dude. He's been through. He just has them a lot. Yeah, thanks all for joining. Got 5 people in here. No, it's interesting time of the day. Just talking about our good stuff. Okay, go ahead and lead us off here, Darren.
Yeah, right. So, like Chris said, so the opening to this, I think, the opening like 10 minutes to this is one of the best you'll ever see in a slasher film. So you've got this photographer, and he kind of stumbles upon this dead body of a woman in like a swamp.
Naked in a lake, yeah, like
Yeah,
swamp.
man.
Yeah, it's Miami, so it's done Miami, Florida, so it's definitely the swampy areas there.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure when I was watching it. It looked like a beach to me, but that's what
Yeah,
we get in the
it could
UK.
be. Yeah.
But needless to say, like it comes on the news that this is basically the third rape murder in as many like days or weeks, I think it
Yeah,
is, isn't it?
sex
Like
maniac.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we see Jane then, Lauren Chu's. She's like this news anchor woman. She's covering the story on the news, but she's really kind of uptight about it as well, because she keeps like mentioning it more and more to like when the newscaster's ready to move on. The other
Move on to the very funny weatherman, who's prepping. I like that. They show
which is actually, that is the only humor, actually. I forgot about that. There is, the weatherman, which is kind
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of Visiting Hours with the start of that.
Yeah.
That reporter, same type of strong woman type character, where this is
It's got the
serious.
same feel.
It's nobody talks about it. Yeah, exact same feel.
Exactly the same feel as Visiting Hours, yeah. This as well, didn't this sit on the shelf, I think, for about a year. So this was filmed maybe late 1980, maybe. And
because it kind of reached its boom. The director mentions that films like this reached its boom. It's funny these directors say that these are 1 in a million people, which is weird for directors, because they say, well, I didn't originally want to go into doing horror, because but it's true the point through the books that I've read and stuff like that, from 80 to 83 to 84, that was it. Really, you had that, just span where it just kind of reached its peak. So
I think 1981 is the year of the slasher. That is by far the greatest.
Oh, they're all blockbusters. People flock to see them. Student Bodies makes fun of that, but says that at the start. By the way, you know how much these made, so
these were like being shown, and no word of a lie, every week there was like 2 or 3 of these in the theater every week. Because imagine that time to be alive, going and watching them in New York or whatever it is.
Yeah, with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre beneath it, Friday the 13th maybe beneath that. Imagine going to the theater at that time and just seeing
having
the burning
slasher films. Yeah, The Burning, My Bloody Valentine, The Funhouse. This year is incredible, and I would put this up. I know people might think shit, but I would put this up with them as well.
Me too. No, this is top tier. This is S tier to me. I'll just state that to the fact. I mean, it's a great. I like it a lot. It's very disturbing. If you can disturb me, like say you have to give me terror. If there's terror in this, then I'm on.
It's just the guy's phone calls, which will come into it. The guy's phone calls and the way he laughs, and it's like really disturbing. But just to set this up then. So this is a great scene. So you've got this young woman waitress, and she's working in like a local strip bar, I think it is. And she's walking home late at night, and the killer basically,
bartender.
So the killer is basically following her, and you've got no mystery with this. We know who the killer is straight from the off, which I actually like. I think that actually works in this film.
I like it.
But so you've got, he basically kind of followed her back to her own apartment. She gets into her apartment. You've got Shockwaves playing it on TV, which is a good little nod.
I didn't know what that was at first because it's a black and white TV, and she's British, right? So she's
got a British accent. I don't know. I don't know why that come into it, but
it's really but very pretty lady and stuff like that. Yeah.
And it's she keeps getting these creepy phone calls, and this guy on the other end of the phone just sounds fucking psychotic, man. But some of the things, like, what's it? Like he says, Debbie, I know you're not wearing a bra, and she's like really fucking freaked by this point now. I won't go into expletives, but he does say, "I'm going to F you, Debbie, you bitch," And,
because she insults him, I think it is, and that's when it kind of changes. It's like going like you bitch. It's funny because she keeps on answering the phone, which I always thought was interesting.
Yeah, she does.
I'm like, why don't you just disconnect it, dude? Just keep it off the line. But
I'm guessing she's like hoping that it's just a prank call or what have you. But she gets so freaked out then she ends up phoning the police, and they kind of brush her off a little bit.
Yeah, because they
we'll
say
be
we've
there
gotten a lot of
tomorrow.
calls. Yeah, you get a lot of calls from
Yeah,
these people.
because
Did
of course
did
there's serial killers on the loose as well. Yeah,
yeah. Did When a Stranger Calls come out after this?
it came out before. So
Okay.
When a Stranger Calls was 79.
Oh
This
wow. Okay.
this was kind of, from what I can gather, this was either filmed early 81 or like later
Okay.
1980. But Don't Answer the Phone is another one which I've covered with Dirk on Dead End Driving with Dirk and Dan. That's got a similar vibe to this as well. You know, you can put that in there with the Maniac type films too.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy then, he's all dressed in black and he enters their apartment. I think it's through the window, isn't it, Chris?
That's what I don't know is how does he get into these places?
I think it's
I
through the
think
window.
we'll get to the
Yeah.
point where it might be explained how he does it. Yeah, because I found that weird too, because these are nice apartments. They have latches and all that other stuff too. So, you know.
Right, yeah. 'Cause her boyfriend, I think, turned up just a little bit before, and he's got this weird mask because he's like some taxi driver, and someone's left. I don't know if it was like a Halloween style mask or something.
Right,
Someone's
right.
left
Just
in
scares the
his taxi.
bejesus out of her. Like I said, she has a
Yeah.
fish tank too in here.
Which comes into play a lot. And do you notice with the fish tank scene as well is there's a very similar scene in Night School, which came out the same year and everything. Like,
that's
you know,
right, it did.
so,
Yeah.
but yeah, so this guy, you know, so obviously Jeff's there and he's waiting for her to get ready because she's basically going to go back to Jeff's place because she's spooked. I think he just sits on the set, doesn't he? And
Yeah, just
watches,
watching, because I didn't know that was
watches the film.
shockwaves, because I'm wondering what it is. And like going, is that zombie? Is that Lucio Fulci's zombie? Because it's on like a beach. And I'm like, looking,
Yeah, it's a
'cause I couldn't
crazy
tell.
film.
Then I just see the zombies underwater and all this other stuff too. I'm like, oh, okay, it's shockwaves.
You might like that. I think you'll dig that actually. Yeah.
Peter Cushing's in that one, isn't he? So
Yeah,
I think he
yeah.
is,
I think Dirk likes that one as well. But so yeah, the killer then just comes up behind her boyfriend and just decapitates him in one fell swoop.
with a cleaver, meat cleaver.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
Just,
yeah, and stuff like that too. Because she
mean,
hears the noise and she's like, "What is it this time?" or something. You know?
yeah. Have you broken something this time or? But this is why you straight from the off as well in this film. There's no fucking about. This goes for the throat like straight away. Like you say, the meat cleaver. But she thinks he's messing about, and she comes into the room, and then she sees his head in a fish tank, which is one of the greatest.
Sees him all spread out behind the couch. That is very cool because they went back and did that.
That's right. She sees it. Basically, sees his body. Yeah,
sees his body. That's a great scene. Like I say, this is top tier, like all timers, dude. This could give you nightmares. She goes down. You see the squirting of the blood and stuff like that too, and that's the makeup effects designer's hand. I forget the other guy's name. I think it was Ron Kurz. You know, and he says, "Yeah, that's my hand there," and stuff like that. He said with the other, he's pressing a button, squirting those blood out and stuff like that. And then of course you have the iconic head, but it shows her face like all in black, right, with the black background, and she screams, and then she goes up. So good. So so crazy.
He basically starts smacking her about, doesn't he? And then he uses his belt to strangle her, which is like his method of.
He has that. Was it those clear masks that you put on? Goes right behind her, strips her blouse. That was all ad-libbed.
Right. Yeah.
Because DeSanti mentions that, like, we didn't practice this at all, and she got pissed afterwards. She called him basically the bastard word. Like, just leave me alone. He's like, what? I didn't really do anything. Like, shows how big he is. Goes around, like, pushes her man. She just goes rip like that, and she goes down. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, it's like.
I mean, yeah. What better 10 minutes can you get, like, you know, to start a slasher film? And I think, because obviously this is the first time watch for you, but for me this was like maybe 20 years ago, because I didn't get to see this when it first came out in the 80s for some reason. It kind of bypassed me. And that DVD, obviously, which I had there, is the first time. But yeah, I fell in love with this early on, very early on. So you've got Jane, the news anchor woman now. She's at her boyfriend's place, David.
It's a lawyer.
Kind of. What's that? Sorry.
He's a lawyer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big time lawyer. He wants her basically to like move in, I think it is, or to stay over more often. But she's obviously looking after her sister Tracy, who's basically like a mute,
And
which
their
we will
dog.
come into
Their,
why.
golden
Yeah,
retriever? Yeah, and their
yeah,
dog.
she's got a guide dog too. Yeah,
Yeah, she
which comes
does.
into play. That does come into play.
Yeah, it does.
But she basically stumbles upon this killer like just by chance, doesn't she? So she's in I think it's in a car park.
Yeah, because she's coming home, I think it is, or something like that. And she's getting ready to get out of her car, and she sees him. He pulls up, but then she sees him getting out of the car. And yeah, go ahead there, Darren, what he starts to do.
So he's basically covered in blood. So he removes his shirt, just like looking around to see if anyone's watching. You don't believe anyone's watching.
Yeah.
He just discards his bloody shirt into like the waste
dumpster,
disposal or whatever. And then she kind of ducks down. So like he's completely unaware that she knows. But at this point, she obviously don't know he's a serial killer, but she's kind of starting to get an idea.
She's wondering. Yeah, she almost thinks about it. At that first time, she almost thinks about it because she waits for him to leave. She almost thinks about going over to the car and be like,
yeah.
Okay.
So I think she's like kind of, that's a bit weird, like, but it's kind of a bit of a thought in her head. Nothing's kind of concrete at this moment, like she's going to go after the serial killer or anything.
Right.
But yeah, like you say, you've got Tracy. Then we get to see Tracy. She has the guide dog. Jennifer Jason Leigh, man, I know she's not in this a lot, but what a performance! Like you would think she is blind and deaf by the way she plays this.
Yeah,
is amazing.
This was by chance too, because the actress that was going to play her didn't show up or was late like twice.
Right, yeah,
she was 17 at the time. At the time, she was 17, and he's like, well, and all this other stuff. So her mom came with her. Great story there and stuff like that. By the time we got started, she turned 18 years old and stuff like that. So we got done. So what by chance? Yeah, great stuff.
And what's interesting about that as well is because later on there's like a semi-nude scene with her, but she's the one who actually suggested to the director to do a nude scene or to do a topless scene.
She was
which is crazy when you think about it nowadays. But man, she's brilliant in this role. I don't think anyone could have done a better job.
All the acting here is pretty damn good. It's like it's not it's not really overblown. Some of it is a little bit, but yeah, it's really good.
Right, yeah. So basically this killer's been like dubbed the Miami Strangler now on the news. There's like news reports coming in over the radio. David introduces himself to Tracy, just to get acquainted with her, because obviously he's seeing her sister. But then Jane covers the double murder of the courting couple at the start of the film, which man is another great scene.
It's good. I do like it when because they're going bantering back and forth, and he's like, "Oh, when am I going to see her?" Stuff like that too. Meet your sister and talk about her and stuff like that, because he's kind of skeptical about her. Go over to the apartment, introduces himself to her and stuff like that too. That's very cool. Kind of introduces the characters. I really like that a lot. That worked really.
Yeah,
cool.
He seems a nice guy as well, and obviously he's the top lawyer.
Yeah, he's the top lawyer.
Which falls perfectly into the film, really, because he's kind of freaked out when Jane, Jane, when she tells it, she keeps telling him bit by bit of what the killer's doing, or who she suspects is the killer,
in simple conversation.
Yeah. And then we have the really weird flashback scene, right? So it's a childhood trauma that's you usually get in some of these slasher films,
Yeah.
And we get the backstory then of why she's basically,
as Tracy is the way that she is.
Yeah. She was basically abducted as a young girl. Must have been
she
what,
stopped.
6
She
or
stopped.
7.
waiting for a school bus, and they're dropping off the kids, and that's when she kind of zones out a little bit, and you see that scene, which is very disturbing. Very disturbing.
Dark. It's very dark.
Yeah.
And but it did kind of have a happy ending because the killer or the abductor actually did give her back, you know. But
Right.
we don't know what went on, you know, sexual. I
Yeah.
presume sexually abused.
I have a theory about that when we get to the end of this.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So you've got all that going on. But they do actually tell you, you know, or kind of like sort
A
of
little bit what
tell you
happened. They don't explain it all. Like she
No,
kind of
which is
keeps
good.
it, like hidden
Yeah.
and stuff like that too. Yeah. For the acting choice for the girl and stuff like that too. They're kind of director was kind of afraid and stuff like that she wouldn't know what was kind of going on. Like, you know, having the girl like do this abduction scene, you know, acting this out, but the mom talked to her about that. You know, before that all happened. It was done very well to the point.
So she basically sees his car again, and she Jane, and she finds out that the actual owner of the car is called Stanley Herbert.
Yeah,
and he's basically
that's a nice car. That's a nice
car.
Yeah.
I
like those
basically
fold-out
living
lights.
exactly
It goes,
opposite.
and it goes up like that.
Yeah.
Those are neat.
For the time, I bet that was exactly. But he's living exactly opposite, and there's kind of a rear window type vibe.
Yeah, because she asks about the person in the car, like, I'm sorry, she says I accidentally hit his car or something like that. I just need to find out where he's at and stuff like that, so I can apologize,
she's kind of
whatever like that. Because it's this number, what, 23 or something like that. It's like right across from me. You can see him from your windowsill. And I'm like, you know, she looks out.
I know, that's fucking freaky, man.
Oh,
and you got the secretary kill now that's about to come up. That's kind of a freaky scene as well. So you've got this secretary. She's working alone late at night on her own. And she gets another phone call, you know, a funny phone call. Like, he says, like, she comes back at him. Then she says something to the killer, and he says, "I'm going to stick it in your neck." And he knows her name and everything,
like, you
man.
bitch.
It's just so
it's like, I'm going to kill you, bitch, and all this stuff, too.
And
he goes into the elevator, and there's a phone in the elevator.
Yeah, because there's no getting away from this guy.
There's no getting away from him.
He plays this really creepy, like, music, like
the music score is very, very well done here. Yeah, I like it a lot.
That music box comes into play as well, because it's basically, you know, we're going to give it away anyway, but it's like a cuckoo clock.
It's a cuckoo clock that has that. Yeah.
And he says this is our song as well, which is
this is our song.
Creepy.
Yeah,
man. But yeah, so she arranges to go back to her friend's place, but the killer, like you say, he phones her in the lift. But then he's waiting in the backseat of her car.
That's iconic. I mean, you kind of know that's going to happen and stuff like that. And what I like about this is they do it to where you don't see her get killed. You just don't. It's like, I kind of like that.
I'm not sure if
it adds to the terror. To me, it really does. Because this guy strangles them, rapes them, and kills them. All the Ted Bundy. I mean, this is what he does. And big man just grabs her and I'm like, whoa, and just you know, takes her to the back of the car. Yeah, just ends that one.
Yeah, this I don't know. Like, I presume it's probably done before the backseat of the car. I'm not, you know, if you look into it, there's probably a few that did it before. But there's loads that did it after. There's Urban Legend comes to mind, you know, in the 90s. It is a trope, but it's done, like you say, it's done well because it's kind of ambiguous in how he kills her, and you're not really sure. He just grabs her into the backseat. Very freaky, man. But yeah, so Jane is in the process now. She's back telling her lawyer boyfriend, you know, all about that. She thinks this Herbert guy's the killer. But he dumps the body on the beach, doesn't he? He dumps his body of this woman on the beach.
In the beaches of Miami, and he drags her out there, and his car gets stuck in the sand. So I'm like, you got your car out there, So there's some little nicks here where I'm like going, okay, it's like, and this couple happens to be making love like farther out and stuff like that, and he goes, you know, oh, this guy's annoying and stuff like that. I'm going to go help him out. So
I know, big mistake. Big mistake. So this guy goes over and like he basically says, "Can I help you with a car?" And then all
with
you
a
see
push.
is-
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
man, looks like you need a push. And he takes it's a switchblade, all like Jalo, like
Yeah.
right there. He goes click like that. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like going, I don't need you. I'm a big dude. I can just do that and just that's typical. That's Savini. You can tell it's Savini where it's just like
you can.
like that. He sticks it in there for a bit. Took care of that.
I mean, they don't hold back actually on the blood, because I think Savini was told, because when Savini come onto this film, he asked the director, he said, "How many gallons do you want?" And the director was like, didn't know what he meant, but he meant blood, obviously.
It'd be interesting to be his driver, because he'd get drivers as like, take me to the grocery store. I have stuff that I have to pick up and stuff like that.
That's
too.
right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. But so Savini's like special effects makeup, and I think there was a lot of this was cut as well at the time.
yeah, a lot of it was. Yeah.
But now you can obviously see it in all its glory. It's not over gorily.
No, it's
But
not. That's why I like
there's
about
enough
it. There's
in
not
there.
a big body count for this, just really at the start. But it's definitely top tier, great stuff.
And of course, then his girlfriend's throat gets slashed, and that's kind of
Right, he goes up
pretty
to the
bad.
window and stuff like that too. That was practice,
Yeah.
because the first time the tube that they were using busted, so it was
That's
like
right,
a
yeah,
waste
yeah.
of like, I think, a couple hours in the cold, and it gets cold there, and then they redid it and stuff like that too. But that's great. Yeah, slits her throat, goes real slowly too, like that.
Yeah, it's
She
one of the
lives
best.
for a while. She
one of
lives
the
for a
best
little bit. I'm
kills,
like
right.
going, is that a witness? No.
Right. Yeah. So Jane then, like, kind of it's obviously been on the news now that this killer's struck again and all that. But then she sees his car and she sees all the mud and like sand
the
on
sand.
on
Yeah.
his tires. She has this really weird dream as well. When they basically find Tracy, her younger
Yeah,
sister.
find her
It's kind of
sister.
a flashback dream. Yeah, so she knows now this got to be this guy. Like,
The mom's
and
like,
she doesn't know how
my
to
daughter,
go
what's
about
wrong
it.
with my daughter? It's like her brain is fine. Nothing is messed up. Notice
Yeah.
the scars on the child is the same as the scars on her. It's like those scars
It is, yeah,
stayed on
yeah.
her, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's done quite, like you say, the whole abduction thing is done quite tastefully. It's not really in bad taste or anything. Which, funny enough, Alone in the Dark has got kind of a similar thing going on there, which we'll come on to, which is done fairly tastefully as well. But so Jane now, she's realizing Herbert's got to be the killer. And she gets like the guy in a
The
hotel, I
maintenance.
think it is, or
Yeah,
the
the
apartment.
maintenance guy. Yeah, says she needs she puts a stick of gum, or she puts some chewed up gum in one of the vending machines. She's like, I
That's
can't
right.
I can't get the stuff out. He's like, no problem. Opens up where all the keys are at to all the apartments. I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
this guy
yeah.
goes, because they're kind of separated. Apartments are kind of separated. There's like two huge like towers. Man, that's a job. And leaves it open, of course. Thinks not going to do anything. I like the way the apartments are, because it's all dark in there. The way the light is,
yeah,
it's crazy. And yeah, she gets it, and she goes into because he's not there, and so it makes you wonder, because they don't say what kind of job he has. He obviously works at night. Goes into the apartment, goes into his apartment.
And there she sees the cuckoo clock as well. But while
She goes
she's
into
in
his
there,
room. Yeah, she goes into his room.
the phone like goes, doesn't it, and startles her first, and then we see that Herbert's coming back to his apartment. So we've got all the suspense of that going on. And she sees obviously the muddy shoes in the closet, so she knows now.
She
She's
tries to go up to, like, up in the closet. That's a good shot with the camera. You see the dirty magazines that he has.
Yeah.
You see that. She doesn't see it, but she's looking for something. Yeah, when he goes, puts his stuff away, then he goes into his bedroom, and that's when it gets really interesting.
It does, right? Because he takes some dry cleaning back, and now because we're thinking she's in the closet, you know.
Yeah,
So he goes to put the dry
No.
cleaning in the closet, and realizes she's gone out the side window, basically, or out the side door. But then I will say this next part is a little bit far-fetched where she's hanging off the edge of the building.
Wow. Yeah,
With her
she's hanging on there
fingertips,
for a
like,
second because he goes
so-
outside. He's like leaning next to the flowers that he has there. Those are
Yeah.
beautiful apartments, dude. And like,
Yeah, they
just
really
like,
are, yeah.
like down like that too. And yeah, she's like hanging there, losing her grip big time too.
I mean, yeah, it is kind of far-fetched. That's the only part I would say is kind of unrealistic. But you gotta have a bit of suspense, I guess, for the film. But she kind of just like basically kicks herself into one of the apartments below and just
She
walks
kind of almost
through.
like it swings, like yes, he swings
Yeah.
down there.
like what John Vernon done in Curtains when he goes through the window and he ends up in a fucking
yeah,
in the
yeah,
bottom.
most trippiest death fall scenes I've ever seen.
Weirdest.
Yeah, but
Yeah. So basically she just calmly walks through this couple's apartment, like she says, like, you know, as if
Yeah.
nothing's kind of gone on.
she has a conversation with her boyfriend about that too. Is like going, can a cuckoo clock sound like a no, never mind. She's back at the news place, and she asks the dude because they're doing a report, and because they talked to the friend of the woman that was killed,
That's
that
right,
she was
yeah.
talking to, and then she goes,
Yeah.
can a cuckoo clock sound like a music box? And he's
Right,
like, I
yeah.
don't know, to tell you the truth. And he's like, she's like, yeah, don't worry about it or something like that. So
Yeah, there's a real cool scene as well next where they basically go to watch a film in the cinema. And you got like even though I'm not a fan of this film, but you got like a really cool like Dawn of
what
the
is
Dead
it that they're
poster.
seeing? I forget. There's a poster out there. Or
I don't think it's any horror or anything.
well,
Was it like a
I think there
mainstream
was
film?
there was a movie poster. I like it when they do that. I think there was.
Oh, they did the Dawn of the Dead poster.
Yeah, Dawn
Yeah.
of the Dead. Yeah, I always like that. I'm like going, oh, damn, that's great. It's like all red felt and all this shit.
Yeah. But she's basically like they don't really get to watch the film because she's basically showing David this like muddy shoe.
He's like, I
which
got the
is-
shoes. Like, I got something for you. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing? I'm
yeah.
gonna tell him to be quiet and all this stuff too.
And he just says you're fucking crazy. You don't want to get mixed up in this kind of shit.
Well, he says it's like you can't do that. What if he's innocent and stuff like that? Too. He's like,
Yeah,
I can't take this, right? Really, you can't. You can't take that as evidence. But
She said because he said
does. He does take it.
it's all circumstantial evidence. I
yeah,
can
it's
get
all
this guy off
circumstantial. You can't prove it.
basically. Yeah.
So she finds another way to do it.
Yeah. She ends up getting a gun, which is crazy, man. That comes into play heavily right towards the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, she kind of turns the tables on the killer now, doesn't she? Like by ringing him.
When she starts doing that, it's like she's getting off on that because she has a cigarette every time she does that to
Yeah,
calm her
yeah.
down. So I'm like,
Yeah.
thinking, oh, you're getting off on this, aren't you, sweetie? So
I mean, and I can see why she does as well, because it's kind of like gratifying knowing what he's doing and all the terror he's like inflicting on all these women.
it calls him
And
a
now-
phone freak.
Now, yeah.
She pushes him probably a bit too far here. So,
She does, yeah. She kind of got control of the situation. She's turned the tables, like I said, totally. But I love
she
the
tells him
the
to
scene.
turn himself in. And
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's
He
like,
says, you've got the wrong person. You've got the wrong person. But the part I like about it is when he just loses it. He says, just fucking leave me alone. Just
No.
don't ring me again. No.
there's a
all that,
scene
like-
where she stops and, she's taking her time with it, where he's on through the hallway of his apartment. You see him with his fingers just going like this.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
thinking. Then all of a sudden he goes into his bedroom where there's another phone. You have a bunch
Right.
of them here. And, he just answers whatever like that, but she does mention that she calls him a phone freak. So like, I know what you're doing and stuff like that too. And that leads to something we're going to get to in a minute.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, the writing, I think the director said the original script to this was awful.
He said it was pretty bad. Yeah.
They had
So-
to keep changing it and
Yeah.
like daily, like even when they were making the film, they were changing the script. But I actually love it because the script and the whole story is like bare bones, which I like. It's not too complicated. You've got your serial killer, you've got your women in peril, and I just think it works on that
The
level.
film's a gem. The film's a gem.
Yeah.
You don't get films like
doesn't
this. and
need to
this
be
is how
more.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be more kind of convoluted, does it?
It
Just
doesn't,
works
no.
on that instinct level of just a pure slasher film.
Yeah.
But yeah, Herbert now, like, he's fucking really into it now, and he goes like stalking this
He goes stalking.
woman, like
Yeah.
this, to the strip bar, I think it is.
Yeah, to a strip bar that he's at. That's done very well. I like scenes like that in films
Yeah.
like this. Driving the car down Miami, seedy parts of Miami, obviously. Yeah, following her. She's like an exotic dancer. Follows her from where she's at all the way there. Really cool. Like, and she's like an exotic dancer. She gets naked at one point, stuff like that. All red lighting, all that stuff. That's a trip.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there, like right next to her, just watching her drink. And I like that. I like that aspect of it. Sorry, I'm sick like that. I'm a sucker for serial killers. What he's thinking. What is he thinking?
Yeah.
It's like he's like planning and all this stuff, like drinking to calm himself down. It's like, should I do it? Should I do it? I should,
Right. He's as cool as a cucumber as well.
He is. He's very
like most serial killers, like very Bundy-esque, very, like you say, maniac. Like that scene when he's stalking her back to her place is very much like, maniac. But basically, yeah, he follows her back to her place, and he's watching her while she gets in the shower. But what I like about it,
that scene.
She screams, doesn't she? She screams, and then
He's
it
like
cuts.
right
It doesn't
there.
show,
That's
it
an
doesn't
old
even
school
show you.
shower glass. Yeah, old school shower glass, and his face is like right there. You see that in the trailer that I shown. He's just like right there.
Yeah.
You hear her scream, and then you hear glass shatter, and that's
Right.
it.
And
I
that's
love
it.
that.
It cuts.
Yeah.
And you again, you've got to like work that out in your own mind what went on after, which is not hard to do. But that's what I love about this, because they do show some of the kills, but some of the stuff they don't as well. And I think it works well. But then because I was looking at the director's interview, and he said they actually shot some of the scenes they shot twice. So when Jennifer Jason Leigh's topless or kind of partially nude, they did it fully clothed, and they done some of the death scenes as well.
Wanted to do it. She wanted to do it like full frontal. She wanted to do that and stuff like that. He's like, okay, like, yeah, just
I mean, she's 18, but she looks about fucking 15 or 16 to me.
No, she does. That's what makes it. That's what makes it kind of disturbing. Wise, what they can make, where you can make these actresses look younger. It makes it even worse, really.
Right? Yeah, it's very creepy in that regards. But so Herbert, he's watching the news now, as all serial killers do. You're watching them cover the killings that you've been doing.
He just happens to do it, and sees her on there.
You get a kick out of it, like, or whatever it is. But then he just realizes Tracy's voice.
Yeah, because she's
Jane's voice.
Talks about the murder of this woman and of the latest his latest victim, and she says like this phone freak will eventually get caught and stuff like that too. And then he thinks about it, and he's like,
the penny
turns
drops
it off.
Basically.
He almost think maybe he's going to throw something and break the TV. No, he's like, okay.
No, he's just cool, calm about it. And then he starts looking over towards
the morning. Yeah, he sees her. Yeah, he sees Tracy.
Yeah,
with the dog or watering flowers, and he's like looking across from her, and you notice she doesn't probably notice he's there.
Right? Yeah. That's
he doesn't know that, I think, yet, but he's like, he's like pacing a little bit, and then he goes back in and closes the curtain and all this stuff too.
And it's purely by coincidence as well, because he doesn't know that she's related to Jane in any way at this point.
No.
So all he does is see this vulnerable young girl. And that's another scene we'll come on to when he's fucking with her in her place, like, and he's moving things. It's so creepy, man.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
But
that took a while for them to do those scenes too. They had to kind of do reshoots for that, because it's interesting.
Yeah.
How you're going to play that? So.
Right. Yeah. Like you say, I there's not one part of this film I don't like.
Me neither.
So needless to say, Herbert's like mud samples now have matched. Like David has basically gone to a guy he knows who can match the samples with the killer. So they know 100% now he's the killer. And David leaves Jane, sorry. David leaves Jane like this message, doesn't he, on the answer phone, saying
Says they match.
basically they match. But she's already gone into like his apartment, into the
Right, because
killer's
she's going out
apartment.
jogging or something like that, and then
Yeah.
because it's a setup, because he pulls out of the lot and he reparks somewhere else. So then he
That's
waits
right, yeah.
for her to leave. He
Yeah,
gets
yeah.
out and then he goes. Yeah, I was like,
Because all this kind, so you've got basically two scenes intertwining here. So you've got Tracy's like at home with the guide dog who's basically been killed, and we can
been
see,
strangled with the leash. Like,
I mean,
she
man,
doesn't
that
know it
looks
because she's
real.
clapping like this, right?
Yeah,
Done so
try and
well,
get the dog.
right next to it. It's like
I don't know
right
about
next
you,
to the
but
dog. I was like, oh no.
did that look too real for you though? That dog looked dead to me.
It
Honestly,
did. It looked
I
dead.
think
It looked dead. The tongue was hanging out. That had to be aesthetic. I'm sorry. That had to be aesthetic.
Yeah.
You can't
They had
teach
to put it
dogs to
in
do
the-
that. Like,
No.
unless it's sleeping with its tongue out. I don't know.
Well,
But
hopefully
unless
it
it's a still
wasn't dead.
shot,
You know?
that's something I don't want to go into. It's like all of the Devil's Honey with the dead German Shepherd in the,
I was gonna say with
in the
lizard and a
sand
woman's
there. I
skin
almost
as
thought that
well.
was an actual dog. I thought
Yeah,
that was an actual dog. It was dead. I was like, so.
But yeah, they must have just put the dog to sleep, like not killed it, but
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
temporarily.
That's
put it to sleep.
hardcore. That's hardcore there. That's one of the most disturbing parts of this film in general. You could put those scenes up there with
Absolutely, yeah.
because
so,
she passes it, goes outside, does the same thing, like outside the hallway. Yeah.
But he's in her apartment now, and he's fucking with her, like, you know, he's moving things about where she tries to get some food.
Right, she's like in the kitchen part, kind of like mine, and it kind of has that window setting here, and he's right there, and he's all like stalking her, like
it is really freaky,
like
man.
going up to her and all this other stuff too. And then he's like, oh shit, she can't see me, she can't hear me.
Yeah.
So,
and then it just turns, man, because she's being so much confused, but then all of a sudden
he
takes a
knife
knife
first.
He's taking
He's
all
like,
the things.
like that. Then he puts it kind of down, and then she finds it. Yeah.
She kind of realizes then, fuck, there's someone else here.
He grabs her.
He
tries
to kiss her, I think, doesn't he? Tries to kiss her.
He does kiss her. He does kiss her. She
grabs,
runs into him, and he just grabs her, like literally sticks his tongue.
And she's like, actually wipes her mouth, and then she goes to grab a knife, but he like easily disarms her because I don't think it's ever mentioned in the film, but he needs some kind of Vietnam. He may have had some kind of Vietnam type, training.
When they interviewed him and stuff like that, he has like some type of military hat on.
So he's got some kind of some armed forces, but he disarms her with a knife easily because she is obviously blind, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and all at this time as well, like she fucking grabs that hot coffee, man.
Yeah.
And he
starts molesting her. He
does,
sexually.
He's
like, he's definitely aroused here, and I'm like, oh shit, and going down her pants, kind of a little bit like that, kind of caressing, going up there, about ready to undo her blouse. I think he does.
He does, yeah.
And grabs the coffee, bang, with the glasses on.
I think that's what the director said as well, because he said a lot of slashers at the time were coming out, and none of the women seemed to be fighting back. He said, I wanted to make a film where these women fought back, and she puts up for blind deaf girl. She puts up one hell of a fight, man. But he's so creepy, man. Even then, he like just dusts himself off, puts his glasses back on.
I guess one of the frames was busted too, or one of the glasses was busted. You kind of don't see that, but he's just like,
yeah, he's so cool, like calculated with all this going on. At the same time, Jane's over in his apartment, funny enough, trying to like get more evidence against him.
That's when she goes outside, or she goes outside and she sees him there. Yeah.
She like sees through the window that he's like fucking basically in her apartment, like with, the Casey. So, there's a panic there, and she got to try and get back over there to stop what's going on. Yeah, man. She goes in, like Tracy even hides in the closet, doesn't she? And then like he finds her as
He only
well.
finds her, right? Yeah, takes her, puts her on the bed, and tries to do the
But
same
she's
thing
such
to
a
her.
fucking great, like she even kicks him in the nuts,
Yeah,
like when
kicks
she's
his ass.
fighting back.
Yeah,
She's really like one of the strongest kind of final girls in that regard
yeah.
for me, considering her disabilities.
Well, the thing is, what happens here is, like, say, when he's getting ready to do it, he does what he did with his first victim in this film. He beats the hell out of her. And that wakes her up. That wakes her up, and she starts to see. And he doesn't know that.
She yells out a scream as well for the first time.
Yeah, because then he gets up and he starts to undo his belt.
Yeah,
and then
she got like
that's when she
blurry
kicks
vision
his
coming
ass in the
back.
nuts. Yeah,
yeah, it's one hell of a finale to a film, to any film, any horror film, no matter slasher. But,
because she finds the gun.
Yeah,
so
yeah, she gets the gun. Yeah, but she basically shoots the killer, and like all good slasher films, he's not really dead straight away.
Like almost like in the liver area, which is disturbing. It's like right here in the side.
Yeah,
it looks like at first. Yeah.
Because what I love about that scene, right? So she thinks she's killed the killer, and she's walking around like as if normally.
That scene's a trip. It's like she's in shock.
Can you imagine the people in the? Yeah. Can you imagine the people in the theater? They would have been saying, "No, he's not fucking dead." They would have all been up screaming, "He's not dead!" Don't
that
fucking...
reaction. It's like, stupid bitch. He's not dead.
Right, but then he just comes.
Kill him.
yeah. He comes in all good slasher film. He just comes from nowhere again. But then by this point, Jane's back in the apartment with a gun, and she just fucking blasts him right through the fucking
great
forehead.
Scene with that. Yeah, like I say with Savini and stuff like that, shoots him in the head, and he falls through the glass window or the glass shower door.
Right.
What was it? A BB gun was used, or something like that was used to break the glass, because the first time he says I bounced off, and he's like, okay, let's try this again. The way he's positioned there, and that's a still up to the point where you see like the blood like just bubbling down and all this other stuff.
An amazing shot.
It's probably one of the greatest end kills I've seen in like
years. It's
years.
done in slow motion as well. He's actually killed in slow mo, and
that's a great camera angle. They knew what they were doing, just right there, boom, just like that, and completely fell down.
Oh god, yeah. It's like you say, it's one of the best. And then you've got obviously Tracy, which a lot of films use this in the future, but I think this kind of may have been stealing a little bit from the Spiral Staircase. So Tracy then speaks for the first time since her childhood, and then it basically ends Padme. And that was kind of, I think that was in the Spiral Staircase, but not a lot of people had seen it, so I don't know whether it was a coincidence. But I mean, it's 85 minutes long. It's not too long. It's perfect length, I think, for slasher. This is a high 9, like, out of 10 for me.
It is. She starts to speak a little bit at the end, where she says her sister's name and stuff like that. So it's a good kind of happy, gritty ending for that. Shows him kind of sprawled out there, and then fading out and stuff like that too. He says, I was sitting there for a little bit. I'm like, guys, can you help me up out of this bathtub pretty please? It's like I've kind of stuck here. And said he had to go to the he busted. One of the shards of glass went into his butt, one of his butt cheeks and stuff like that too. And he said his daughter was there and stuff like that. He goes, "Oh, Dad, you got like whatever like that. It's not serious. Don't worry about it." And so, just going to the hospital and all this other stuff, too. He did say that what's the cool thing about these films is they give you printed shirts. And somebody gave me printed shirts of 2 butt cheeks and stuff like that, bleeding, and it goes like eyes of the butt cheeks or something like that, too. It was really funny. Yeah. Very cool. Like I say, cool. Yeah, great ending. Perfect length, say, for slashers. Newer slashers... outdo their welcomes a lot. In my opinion, it can be too long. A lot of stuff can be too long. It tries to do too much. This film does not try to do too much. It's right to the point. It's the
best. Like DeSante's the best, one of the best portrayals of a serial killer I've ever seen in a film.
I agree. I tend to agree. Just totally kind of just different from what I've seen, and it gets a strong 8 out of 10 for me. yeah, that can easily go up. I think this is early Savini. This is probably some of his best work for what he did.
Some of his most underrated, I think,
yeah,
because
underrated
no one
work
talks
and
about it.
stuff like
But
that.
there's a funny story with Savini as well, how he came onto the film, because when he first met up with the director, he basically had some kind of, I think it was some kind of dummy, and
He did.
what it was, he threw some hatchet just past the
Yeah, he
director's
threw it
head,
at him. Yeah.
and
It's like at the time I was freaked out, but then I realized it was
yeah,
all all fake stuff and stuff like that. I'm like,
yeah.
oh wow, okay,
I've
yeah,
heard he does that a lot. Savini used to like shock people a lot by doing
yeah. He's
things
a
like
sick
that.
fuck. I'll state
Um,
that for the fact. You have
but
to do some of this stuff.
yeah, he just doesn't get the credit. Everyone talks about the Prowler, Friday the 13th, Pat, 4 as well. I think he
The
did the
Prowler I
effects on
need to
4.
revisit.
Um,
Yeah, because he
the
talks about the
Burning,
Prowler for a brief moment. He goes, those scenes were just straight up gore, some great stuff in here. But he said with this one, that's why I like this interview, because he talks about it. Pictures of him younger with the director and stuff like that. That's a neat picture of those two. It's really cool seeing younger, because he talked about doing a film called Night Riders. So he
okay, yeah,
showed them
yeah.
on a motorcycle and stuff like that too. So I was like, oh dang. So yeah,
I
great. Like I
think
say,
that's
great.
where the director, right? Yeah. That's why the director put Dawn of the Dead in that poster as well, because of Savini.
Yeah, because it's
Um,
Savini and stuff like that too.
yeah,
Great
yeah.
special features on here. Like I said, if you can find it for a good price, get it. It's worth it. I think I paid $23 for this. It's worth it. This is a newer release.
That's about what I paid.
From
Yeah.
Scream Factory. Yeah, like I say,
I would probably get it now though, because some of these Scream Factories are just going out of print, and they're going to
they're just going out of print. Yeah, and I don't think we'll get a 4K. Maybe somebody will pick it up. I could see Arrow re-releasing this, but
I'd love to get. I'd double dip, triple dip actually. There's a story as well where the producers they were really pleased with the film, and they sold it to Warner Brothers for like $2.5-3 million.
yeah,
But what the director was pretty happy about it, because I think he got some of the residuals or whatever. But Warner Brothers did sit on the film for a whole year, and then when the slasher boom had finally kind of come to an end, that's when this got released. So that's probably why it's not highly regarded as much.
like
or
a limited
seen.
release straight to the video store type of a thing. I love this VHS cover of this. So this is the original cover for the film. There's other ones and stuff like that too, but this is the original cover for that, which is interesting. So
it is, yeah. De Palma actually contacted the director about doing Body Double.
Yeah, Body Double. That's right. Yeah, he did 2 films with him.
Right,
Body Double, Dress to Kill, I think, was one too.
I think De Palma actually wanted him to direct Body Double, but obviously it ended up being a De Palma directed film. But he'd done some kind of development deal, or they become really good friends apparently, and so that was interesting. But yeah, man, if you've not seen this film, I know Dirk has not seen this film.
Oh,
I would highly recommend people to go out.
He would like it. He would like it. Like I say, the music is great. Everything is great. My theory.
Okay, go on. Yeah, go on.
Is the theory is it's the same. The Stanley character, I think, is the same. Sorry, get rid of that. But in theory was that when she gets kidnapped as a child, it could be the same person. That Stanley is. I think him and that person, even though it looks different, he has a mustache and all this other stuff too. But that could be the same person.
That could work because he's
that
only
could be
like,
the same person. So
yeah,
he could have
that
kidnapped
was only
her at
10.
that time.
Yeah, so that was only
like
10 years previous, wasn't it?
10 years previous. Yeah. I know
yeah,
it's
that
a
could
different
work.
car.
That could work.
I know it's a different car and all this other stuff too, but I can see that it's the same thing. Everything comes back to roost, or it could be like that. But that's an interesting theory. It just came into my head. I'm thinking, oh, is
It's
that
possible.
the same person?
Yeah, it is possible. Yeah, because he'd have a different car anyway, wouldn't he? Because it's 10 years previous. But maybe because the Sandy, I'm guessing, is what? He's about 40, isn't he, by the time?
Yeah.
Is he about 40 years of age when when all this goes down?
When all this happened. It's like I say, good, great cast. It's a great film. Like I say, strong 8 out of 10. And yeah, if we're going by tiers for slashers, this is S. This is an S tier. This is right up there with F-13, The Burning.
This is a blueprint. Like
It's
you
a
need
blueprint.
like. There's no like I can't even think of another slasher film that's more slasher than this. Like,
Yeah,
it's
this
just
is when a lot
yeah.
of people were, like you say, experimenting. This was still during that time when you got these gritty films. You don't get films like this anymore, where it's from their perspective. There's more meaning to it. It's deeper. There's layers.
Right.
To
Yeah.
these. You know, like to Maniac, there's layers. Like Nightmare in a Damaged Brain, there's layers. There's layers to Don't Go Into the House. You know, there's
It
House at the Edge
definitely
of the
should be
Park.
lumped into all them films.
Yeah.
The director didn't like still kind of disregards the film as not being that good, but which is like blows my mind because
They usually do. They usually do. Like a lot of directors don't like what they do. They really don't. A lot of directors won't watch what they do. I mean, they won't watch the film. It's weird. Fulci, I think, was that way a little bit. Argento could be that way. Like I say, these directors could be. Tom Holland could be that way. It's like
they go back and they see all the faults, don't they? Basically,
yeah, they see all the faults.
Yeah,
like with like I said, I just thought that was interesting that he did Shockwaves before this. I'm like, yeah, Blue Underground released that, so that's an interesting, zombie-esque film for its time. That was done in Miami too. So
yeah, it's decent. You've
he
seen
does mention too that you couldn't do this
too.
in you mentioned too you couldn't do this in New York because of the Teamsters, the union, and all this other stuff too.
It would have cost
that comes into play with the other film we're going to talk about. It's like really.
Alone in the Dark was going to be filmed in New York as well.
Yeah, New Jersey wise, but
I was going to say, you've seen Return of the Living Dead Part 2, have you?
I haven't seen.
Oh man,
I've only seen clips of the first Return of the Living Dead, so I haven't fully watched that film, and I have not watched Return of the Living Dead Part 2 either. I have that on my wish list, but that sucker's gone up in price, so I don't know if they're going to release the 4K of that or not.
The original is you've got to see that as soon as possible.
I have it. I have the 4K. That Scream Factory release. I have.
Yeah, I like that's why I'm saying I like the sequel as well. It's not everyone likes that type of thing, but I did like the sequel.
I love Don't Go in the House.
Absolutely love it, man.
Yeah, I love Don't Go in the House.
Me and Dirk and Dan covered it.
Yeah, mommy issues. Yeah, Eyes of the Stranger tagline. Sorry, your party is dead. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got the poster somewhere in one of my bloody boxes for this.
It's asking what time is it where you are, Darren?
Currently where I am now is 12:20 at night.
Yep, that's right. It's 3:45 where I'm at right now. It's 4:18. So
it's like 6 hours.
Urban Legend I have not seen in years. That has that one chick in there. She kind of has like the permed hair. I saw her in like other shows. I forget her name.
Yeah, she was married to Charlie Sheen. Is that the one you're on about?
That's Denise Richards. This is another
one.
Oh
no, you're on about the other one. The other one. Yeah, I love that film. Hey, Andrew.
It is, definitely is. We're gonna get to that in a minute. Everyone's saying hi. I have not seen what happened to Baby Jane. I know these two did not like each other. Betty Davis and Joan Crawford did not like each other. Like it was a hate relationship. They hated each other. Betty Davis is great. Betty Davis is great.
Yeah, I mean, that's a weird question actually because that was on UK TV not long ago, and it's played.
I heard it's a great film.
Twice a year.
Yeah.
I've seen like bits of it, and what I've seen, I've really liked.
Yeah, they play sisters.
Oh God,
that don't like each other in general in that film. One of them's in a wheelchair, and then something happens. So it's like, so
they really fucking hated each other. There's even a documentary on the two of them where they just hated each other.
Yeah, they just did. Joan Crawford was she was interesting because they would go off on each other's like, you don't have an Oscar, I do, and all this other stuff. Really, really, really vicious.
Yeah.
Vicious.
So I think by the time that film came out, their careers were kind of dead in the water.
I love Betty Davis.
Revived them.
Burnt Offerings is terrific, and she's in that. I'm like, I keep on thinking Betty Davis eyes. She's got Betty Davis eyes, and that's like, that's Betty Davis, with Oliver Reed and Karen Black.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So it's a great stuff. It may be on some streaming service. I definitely need to check out those older films. you make a good point. Next up to,
I mean, if I'd love to cover it on one of the streams if you want. Like, I
Yeah.
know it's not a slasher, but I mean, we could do something with it because it is
do off the cuff
very,
thing or something
very
like
dark.
that.
Yeah.
Talking about some of these films. So yeah, definitely Eyes of the Stranger. If you can find it on stream and check it out, I would pick this up. Check on Amazon, check on Scream Factory's site. I know they recently had a sale. They've been having sales and stuff like that too. This is fairly new. So fairly new release.
That's like 3 years old, I think. 3 years.
Yeah, for about 3 years old. So, but yeah, that's a Eyes of the Stranger. I'm so glad I have this. Yeah, definitely keeping this. This ain't going anywhere. So
it's a top 20 slasher of all time.
Oh yeah, at least.
Yeah.
At the least. All right. Next up is 1982's Alone in the Dark. Got this Scream Factory release, cool script, cool artwork, and then I mean, I love the original artwork for this. This is used. Artwork is used in another film too. I forget the name of it, but it's almost the same, except I think the weapon is different. But I've
even got the fucking VHS. Like,
it was
actually in a VHS store.
Yeah,
got the
that's
number
great.
on it and everything. But look at the artwork on that; it's not great. I mean, but
Jack Palance in a
got the old DVD as well.
In a suit, which is. Oh, that's a nice one. I kind of like that one.
I mean, if you can get this cheap somewhere, get it, because the extras on here is amazing. Like, there's tons of like interviews and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
we got first off, Alone in the Dark, 1982, directed by Jack Shoulder. Who is Jack Shoulder? He did a film that Gizmo really likes called The Hidden, and did Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Now we all know about that. I forgot about that situation. That's crazy. He has a big filmography. He's done a lot of stuff. These are Hall of Fame actors, in my opinion, in here.
Easily.
You have Jack Palance as Frank Hawks. You have Donald Pleasance as Dr. Leo Bain. You have Martin Landau, the great Martin Landau, as Byron Preacher Sutcliffe. Dwight Schultz as Dr. Dan Potter. And Erland Van Lith as Ronald Fatty Elster, who is an opera singer.
Crazy, I know.
Died real young. That's too bad. He died a little bit after this film. That's way too bad. Big dude.
He had
great actor, great part in this film.
What was weird about it is he had an IQ higher than like 99% of the population, and he actually found it hard to like play a guy who's not very intelligent, should we say?
Yeah, right. They said he had to kind of play that down. We'll get to that. The conversations he has with the girl are terrific. And then Donald Pleasance, what can you say? Probably one of the greatest character actors of all time. May rest in peace. He died a long time ago. I remember when he passed, and that's before I knew where he was. It was during the Academy Awards, and I remember when they go, "We remember," and they showed him in his suit as Dr. Loomis for Halloween. Great actor.
I think they had like alcoholic issues going towards.
It's a big one. Almost kind of like what George C. Scott was. He'd be drinking on set and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Great character actor. Martin Landau. What can you say about him?
Man,
for what he was. Jack Palance. He was going to do a series in Italy, but then he was going to get sued if he didn't do the film. So he's like, okay. But what can you say about Jack Palance? He plays a badass villain all the time. He just had that look to him. Specifically, the ending scene to this is so good.
But he turned up with an attitude on set, obviously, because he basically wanted to be doing this Italian TV series.
It's kind of the more old school. What is it? Shane, I think the director said he first heard about him from. I think that what the film was called and stuff like that. He did some films way back in the day. Of course he did.
So they kind of butted heads early on, but then he gained the respect of the director.
He did. It's cool.
And then they were cool.
Just talking to the director and talking to him. Of course, you have the band in here called the Sick. I'll call them the Sick Ducks here. There's so many times I can say the F word.
I mean, if I slip, I'll probably end up saying
the extras on this disc talk to them. They revisit them and stuff like that too. So interview with the actress Cara Levy. Lynn Shay's in here from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
She's
in
the
here.
sister of the producer Bob Shay.
Yeah, Bob Shay. Yeah, that's right.
And New Line was who brought this out.
Yeah, this isn't their first film, but this is before they became like a label. So New Line basically to me is what A24 is now, what Neon is now, what these companies are now. They were the little kid on the block, and my goodness, what a great film to kind of debut. Filmed in Ridgewood, New Jersey. Great extras on here too, locations and stuff like that. So they go to that place. That's very cool.
I need to check all that out. Yeah,
this was done in the winter. This was done in the winter time. You can tell with the snow and stuff like that too. So,
do you hear what happened with the director as well? So basically, he was just an editor, Jack Shoulder. He did some short films, I think it was, and he'd come off doing the editing for The Burning. And then he said he learned so much off doing The Burning.
Heavy players in here at the time. He didn't know it at the time, of course not. Then you look at films like this and you're like, oh God, why haven't I seen this?
This was kind of a low budget, like for his time, or kind of a regional film for his time. And then, they happened to get all these actors on board then, and it kind of took it to a different level.
It's just like really good. And like I say, so go ahead and start us off there, Darren.
So just a quick synopsis, I'd say, is so basically, thanks to this major power cut, you've got this gang of psychopaths. They break out of this Haven Maximum Security.
The third floor.
Just the third floor on it, But and basically they lay siege on the psychiatrist who's basically they think has murdered their older doctor, which is kind of weird. So basically
Dr. Dan, because he comes to replace the dude that left to go to another place. They don't think that, though. The inmates in the asylum don't think that.
Right. So I think it was a thing as well, because I think a few years previously they'd had a big power cut in New York and people were looting, and so this could have happened, back in the time. Nowadays,
in the long hot summer of the 70s. Summer.
You got generators and all sorts nowadays. That would. But this is one for me that's, again, like Eyes of a Stranger. I don't think people talk about this half as much as they should. It's on a par with Eyes of a Stranger, maybe just slightly a bit lower for me.
A very hider in the house type of situation. Very Brad has a word for it, like enclosed horror, like everything done in kind of like two locations, everything done in this house, this old school house. I mean,
it's like no other slasher film you'll ever see. It's completely original in storyline. We'll come on to all the characters as well, which like every single character. There's an amazing twist that I did not see coming.
I didn't see that either.
One of the characters. I remember when I first saw it, and
a couple of the characters. They one in particular, being the sister. We'll come to that.
Right.
Like that came out of nowhere. Like certain stuff, I'm like, oh wow, okay. You get conversations where she explains kind of a little bit what happened to her when she was younger. To your point, that one twist at the end, I was wondering. I had an idea with one of the characters that it could be, what have you, but I wasn't sure.
First time.
The way they were acting, though, kind of gave it away a little bit. So,
I mean, I was young when I seen it first, so I didn't really have that. We could go into that first scene. So you've got Martin Landau. He plays the preacher. And there's like a dream sequence starts the film off.
Yeah.
And it's like so
in a diner.
Yeah, man. Basically this preacher, like, he goes into this diner and everything's really weird in there for some reason. There's not many people there, obviously. And Donald Pleasance plays this chef, who's got this meat cleaver and
the chains all come in and hang him up. And
man,
what does the dude in the table next to him say? He's like, You taking the usual or something like that? Yeah, I'll take the usual. But he says something to him, and I forget what he says. It's like kind of muffled a little bit what he says to him. He's like,
right. They bring out this like fish, don't they? Or,
yeah, this huge like catfish thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
You see the
it's so
flames in
like
the background. You see the flames of them bringing out the plate. I'm like going, okay.
yeah. But he ends up, like you say, getting chained. And then you've got that amazing shot that's in all the trailers of Donald Pleasant with the meat cleaver, and he's
Yeah,
like,
it just goes.
and it's like
done before Hellraiser. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Done before Hellraiser.
Yeah. And that puts you off to for me anyway, like a great.
Yeah, because he wakes up. Yeah, he's like, yeah.
So you've got this doctor then, Dan Potter. He turns up to meet, Leo, Donald Pleasant, who's running this
Dr.
like
Leo
mental
Bain. Yeah,
institution.
that's he.
And he seems like Dr. Bain is like just as fucking mad as the inmates. Like he's like got all these strange
when he
feelings.
goes there, you see Lynn Shay there, and she's like going, "Is he in?" Like, oh, of course he's always there. He's like, "Oh, then what's the kind of problem?" It's like you can't see him, and I'm like, okay. Okay.
I realized at that point that obviously they've got an inmate working on the desk, but so he goes straight into this like this young doctor, and like basically then you've got we're seeing the patients on the third floor, so you've got, and they're all highly dangerous. They've all got to be put,
You see a dude like playing croquet that looks like a rabbi, I think. Croquet. You see the typical people outside of the place,
Right, and I think floor 3 is like got all the psychopaths basically. So
which they call voyeurs, by the way. He says that we don't call them psychopaths, we call them voyeurs.
So Bain tells the doctor that they used to have this doctor called Merton, and they all basically think now this new doctor's come in that he's killed this old doctor.
Yeah.
But just coming into the characters, you've got Colonel Frank Hawkes, played by Jack Palance, who's just fucking amazing. Like,
oh god,
smashes it out of the park. You've got the preacher, which is Byron Sutcliffe, played by Landau. Used to be like a minister. Another great,
That's a great when he's talking
character.
to him. One of the great lines there, he's like going, "Yeah, the preacher, he burns down churches. The problem is they have people in them."
Exactly,
like,
And this guy is like, well, all these guys just play fucking psychopaths so well.
Yeah, Fatty.
Got,
Fatty is a child molester. Like, yeah,
and he's a creepy fucking son of a bitch as well. He really does look creepy, and that's just testament to what a great actor, a great.
Yeah, the muscle of the group, you can say. Yeah,
but he was an opera singer, like you said earlier, which blew my mind when I heard that. I don't think he did a lot of films, but for me, I think he played that part really well.
He played it perfectly.
You've got the bleeder, John Skaggs, I think it is. He'll never show his face.
He doesn't. No, he does not.
But that's gonna come.
They just mention him when the sister comes to visit. It was like going, because they're making fun of him a bit. He's like going, "You got the bleeder." He's like a notorious like serial killer or something.
Yeah.
Like
it's
they don't say serial killer in these films. It's before I think the term really took off for what these people are. That's why they call them like psychopaths or voyeurs or like crazy sex killers or something. They don't really go into that.
So basically they're all talking in their area where I think they're all in bed and they're all talking, these psychopaths, and they basically mention that this doctor they think has killed Dr. Merton, the new Dr. Potter.
Yeah, he introduces himself and
they say
Ellen's like points at him like death would point at somebody. He's like, you, and then he just waves, like that. I'm like, dude,
completely just switches straight back. But they all have this conversation, don't they? They say, "Well, we're going to kill him," and then one of them says, "I think, hey, where are we going to kill him? Are we going to kill him?" And he said, "On the outside, we're going to kill him." And then that's
because it's like he has an epiphany because he's laying on the bed, and like whatever, like that, and they're kind of hatching out a plot to do that because they think he killed the previous doctor that was there.
Because don't the janitor or the security guard Ray?
He has PTSD.
he actually tells Potter, doesn't he, that they all want to kill him as well.
Yeah, because he's
and-
like in there. He goes, "These guys are crazy." He warns him. He's like, "These dudes are batshit crazy."
Yeah.
So,
He
like,
says
they're-
the only thing separating me from these fucking crazy fuckers is electricity, basically.
Yeah, the window, because Palance goes up to that because the door shuts, right? And the alarm goes off. He's like that.
It's like maximum security on that floor, you know. I don't know about the other floors, whether the people are not quite as insane.
Well, Bane makes the excuse and stuff like that too. I let him roam free because it's not we're not a prison here. You know, these people need help, and
he gives him fucking. This guy is like a serial fucking arsonist, and he gives him matches.
He gives him matches, right? Because the doctor wouldn't. Potter wouldn't give him matches and stuff like that too, and he goes, "Oh, here you go," and stuff like that. He's almost like a cult leader in this.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder what's going on with him because they don't explain a lot with his character either. It's like, is he playing with him? Like, what's going on here? You know, so
it's like, who's the fucking crazy one as well? When you get, you know, Bane, like Pleasance is completely fucking mad as a hatter in this.
Unhinged a little bit. Yeah. Gotta love it.
But yeah, so Leo Bane, he tells the preacher, if he doesn't stop, you know, this is out because he's got the matches.
Right, he whispers to him.
Yeah, he whispers.
What did you say to him? He says, "I would what, like kill him or hang him or something like that."
He says, I will hoist you up and I'll cut you in half," which is a play on the
dream
sequence.
Yeah, the dream sequence.
So
that he seems to have all the time. That's where the fire comes in and the brimstone and all this other shit.
Yeah. So the preacher is absolutely fucking terrified of Pleasance's character, which makes sense, you know, in that scene. Like Potts' sister turns up then, and she to stay with the family. I think her name's
drops
Tony.
off like old school 80s punk look. She has the half bun in the hair.
Yeah,
that was used a lot back in the day. I really love that aesthetic. This is definitely a film for its time and stuff like that. Yeah, she's Dan Potter's sister. I recognize
she's like
her.
against all like nuclear. I didn't recognize that actually, but she's kind of into like nuclear, you know, war. She's a
protester. Yeah, she's I get it. Yeah, she tries to get her sister-in-law to. Well, she actually draws her a picture. Like, what is it, like Stop Nukes or something like that too? He's like, no, that one's actually for you. I have mine here. It looks awesome. I'm going to show you it.
That comes into play as well. But
the smart-ass daughter.
To set up these characters now, right? So I'll just do a little setup. So you've got Fatty. He's the one who likes to rape little girls, and that's actually said in the film.
Yeah.
Preacher likes to set fire to things, like you said, churches. Hawk says he's there to be social. He's just completely
he doesn't explain what he's done. He's the one character where
no. He said something like they're no crazy people. They're just all on vacation.
Yeah,
like,
they're all on vacation. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Man. And the bleeder is a serial strangler who obviously gets nosebleeds when he was doing when
he's doing the killing. Yeah.
So I think all the characters in this are fantastic. You know, this is so different, Chris, isn't it, to any of the other slashers? Like
the inmates when the inmates escape and then go to this house. That's why it's almost like a little like Last House on the Left, Bad Ronald, you know, films like that, Hider in the House, where
kind of like
cohabitation
home invasion type.
Home invasion, definitely. This is top tier home invasion. It's.
But I can't even put it under like home invasion or even slasher. Like there's so many different elements.
They picked the perfect house for this. Picked a perfect house for this. Man. Perfect location for this. You couldn't play this any better. Very Halloween feel to it as well.
You've got the house actually does play a part, like as a character, you know. But you've got to love the opening scene. We see the six. I'm gonna say the F word if you don't mind. Six fucks the band. And like so, basically, Potter and his sister takes him and his wife to go and see them.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go. He's like going, "Why are we?"
Oh man, what about that song they play, man? So they play this song, "Chop Chop."
Yes, something.
Chop up your mother, and I mean it's so freaking catchy.
Yeah, you see the very very pretty lady with the fake hatchet just doing that. You know, she's like chop chop chop.
Yeah,
chop.
that's their thing. The two women would actually. Yeah, they dress up and all that, and I think that's why the director hired them, because I don't think they were called the Sick Fucks. He actually gave them that name for the film. I don't know if they carried it
It's a
going
punk. It's an
afterwards.
'80s punk rock band. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's so good about that scene as well, because there's basically electricity blackout while the concert's going on, so the whole city now is just a complete blackout.
Yeah,
and
because
that's
she's
where-
all like the sister's all in the mosh pit and all this other stuff too.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Finally, the brother finally says, "Finally," and stuff like that too. And almost
Yeah,
like
he
she's
just
trapped
wants
in
to
there.
go,
They
like-
end up going out, going home, and that's when they realized where was it the preacher wakes up and he goes, "I made the power go out."
Yeah,
I'm like, dude.
I mean, yeah, it's a great scene. It's you actually like you fucking if you watch it long enough, you actually become as mad as them by the way they like actually thinking and all that.
That's what made Martin Landau such a damn good actor.
Oh,
dude,
man.
he could just play that part. He's like, I made the power go out. Like he had,
I
like
mean,
God told
Landau
him, it's
and-
like God gave him the strength to do
Yeah.
it. Like I made the power go out.
It's like you don't know who's the maddest out the three of them. Like you got Pleasance, Landau, and Jack Palance. All three of them nailed.
Palance is the
nailed
most
it.
cool and collected out of the bunch. The other two are like,
Yeah.
well,
yeah. I love that scene.
Fatty's the, like I say, you'll get to that part. Fatty's the muscle of the group.
Yeah. And he's like the obviously sex offender and all that.
Yeah.
But basically then, as you can imagine, these psychopaths, they attack and kill Ray, the security guard, and all four of them escape.
Yeah, they break his back. That's a good scene. He picks him up because
Oh,
the guy
God,
goes,
yeah,
like, you're a
yeah.
sinner. You're this. You're that. You're this. You're right. I am, and stuff like that. Just grabs him.
Yeah. He tries hiding or something in
Yeah,
one of the
he does in like that
closets.
locker closet type of thing and stuff like that too.
So they go and kill this other doctor now who's turned up in the car.
Yeah, in the car,
Steal
take his car,
Um,
shatter the window. So they're just like, oh, just
and I
like
think
that.
a weird thing about that scene is, right, so when they kill the doctor, originally they were going to do it with Jack Palance's character was asked to kill the doctor.
Yeah,
And Jack Palance was
He didn't
being
want
so
to do it.
awkward on set. He said, I'm not killing
yeah.
no one.
It's not his type of film, really.
That's right, yeah. He
Yeah,
said,
it's not.
I'm killing no one. So he's still got all these sour grapes over the
Technically,
fact
he
that
doesn't.
he can't do that.
Technically, he
Well,
doesn't.
yeah,
but
yeah. But I think he mentions to the director, and why don't you get Fatty to do it? Like, so that's how that kind of scene come along. But yeah, you got people looting from shops. You got like everyone's setting places on fire.
That's a good scene right there. That's a good set right there. Like, say you see cars on fire, everything turned over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like the surplus store that you don't get stores like that anymore. No way.
Right.
No.
So this actually happened. This happened in New York, I think it was a few years earlier in real
Yeah.
life, like I said. But you get a fucking hockey mask before fucking Friday the 13th, fucking part 4, wasn't it?
New beginning. The new beginning. It's that mask.
It's a new beginning,
hockey
yeah.
mask goes over there where you see this
This
person
comes
pick
2
it
or 3
up.
years before.
You see a
which is
shadow of
crazy.
his face, then you see it put him on there. Yeah.
Yeah, so this has had to. Yeah, the
Yeah.
makers of Friday the 13th would have had to have seen this.
Yeah.
Like you can't even like argue that fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you got, and I don't think we mentioned the little girl much, have we? So the little girl is Lila. She's like this little blonde girl.
Yeah.
And she
glasses.
seems more grown up than the adults. Like, she's very
right.
intelligent.
She's all like, talk,
um,
or like, because he breaks one of the because they're moving into this place, and he
yeah,
accidentally breaks one of like the bases or something like that. So like, you just use crazy glue to fix it. And like, yeah, you shouldn't do that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
kind of arguing. back
She's
and forth
like
a little bit.
really intelligent for her
Yeah, she
age
is.
and that. But yeah, like you say, so the bleeder now has the hockey mask. And he fucking he's got this claw thing.
It's a
as well.
garden claw. Yeah, it's a garden claw. You use to kind of like mulch dirt. Yeah, and he just goes.
Okay,
Rip.
yeah.
Yeah.
What a weapon that is, man! I didn't even know it was a garden claw, but I don't even think we got them over here. But yeah, he kind of just puts it across this guy's chest.
You see like flesh and
Man.
stuff like that all hanging
Yeah.
there, and they're all like,
Yeah.
he looks at them, and then he goes. And right, they take the van. I'm like going, oh, okay.
They do, yeah. They target this like mailman on the bike as well, which is kind of really fucking.
He points him out or something like that. Like he wants, I think he kind of, because he's telling them like go and stuff like that, and they're playing with him. He goes into the leaves and stuff like that too.
They want his hat. That's what it is. What like, I think it's
they're originally going to go past him, but then he yells out the word asshole, like you asshole and stuff like that, and that triggers Frank. That triggers Frank Hawks. He's like,
I think Frank says, "I won that hat" or something, didn't he? Like,
well, no, like he says that, but you see that trigger when everyone calls you an asshole or something like that.
Oh man, yeah.
That's when he pulls back and they run him over, and they have him flying, hit him, and have him flying.
Yeah. So that's a great scene.
And he just takes the hat and he just puts it on there. It's like, well, okay, all right.
And that's going to come into play, the hat as well in the scene. So you got Dr. Potter's sister. Would you say she's? I know we mentioned her a minute ago, but is she kind of like a hippie type as well? She's got that vibe,
like with the whole protesting thing. It's during that Reagan administration time. Let the kids play. Just right before that. So it's that same thing with every generation. You fight the system. Gen X, I'm Gen X. You fight the system. You fight the system. Yeah.
So basically, Dr. Potter like's been warned now that these psychopaths could be coming for him. He doesn't seem that bothered, does he? At first,
not at first. He doesn't. No,
he's just kind of like, whatever. Like, but
Bane isn't bothered by it either. And Donald Pleasance isn't in this film a lot. So, his character isn't in this film a lot.
Yeah. What he does do, though, is magic in every scene.
Yeah, of course.
Another very memorable scene to come with him.
There's a scene with him and one of the nurses are like, are you going to call him? And he's like, no, or something like that. It's like, I'm like, what are you? Are you playing with them? It's like, your inmates have escaped and stuff like that. They're not going to do any harm. Or it's like he doesn't know. So it's like you say, really
right, he's just completely oblivious to what could happen, and the preacher turns up at the house like with a telegram.
Yeah, with the telegram. He's like,
that's where they got the hat in there, I think. Is that
Yeah, where he's like going, I have a telegram here for Dan Porter's like going, I can take it and stuff like that. It's directly for him. It's for directly for him. Yeah. And she's like, when he'll be back, he's like, okay, this disturbing scene. It's like tripping.
I mean, just so sinister the way he played that, that scene.
There's a scene during the blackout too. You get introduced to the babysitter, the very cute blonde babysitter.
Yeah.
She's like, this is kind of cool, like being alone in here and stuff like that.
Bunky, I think her name is.
Bunky. Yeah.
So you've got Lila. She gets home early, the young girl, and then she's kind of like confronted by Fatty, the sex molester, but
Ronald
he's kind of being nice to her, isn't he? He's saying,
Ronald and stuff like that. It's weird.
Let's go upstairs and all this.
It's a great conversation where it's like, and she's like, "Who are you?" It's like, "Where is so and so?" And it's like, they couldn't make it. It's like he's thinking about it. It's like couldn't make it. He's like, "I'm really good with paper." He's like, I can make all kinds of stuff with it. You take me upstairs, I can show you. And I'm like,
I know you're
okay. Well, she's eating like a sandwich and stuff like that too. I'm like,
she's oblivious. She's like this little carefree character.
She's like, whatever.
No sense of danger, nothing. Like she's just like, that's
that's what makes this very cool because he's confounded by it. He's like stupefied by it. He's just like, okay, he actually likes her. He what I mean? It's like it's weird like that. Like kind of, like I say with his IQ being his character's IQ being as low as it is, that's why I think that kind of works.
He kind of treats her as a friend, basically on the same level as he is.
Yeah.
But and that way the part plays in with the sister as well, because basically they're in like temporary jail and they over like this nuclear weapons protest.
Yeah.
So the mother can't.
Yeah, the mother has to make a call. Can I make a call? Because my daughter's home all alone by herself and stuff like that too. That's when the one dude comes up behind the sister and says, "Go ahead, it's fine. Just let her." That's where go in my stead or something like that. And they have that conversation. It's like going, "I didn't duck" or something like that. During the protest thing.
So Bunky's told to go back and check on Lila and make sure everything's fine. I think she does go back, doesn't she? And then she sees Lila napping in the bedroom, and she thinks,
sees her napping in the bedroom, and then she gets the other calls, like going or calls or the doctor, Dr. Dan calls him and asks, "Can you stay?" Yeah, no problem, that's fine. That's when she calls her boyfriend.
Yeah, she calls her boyfriend over, but Then you've got that scene with the bed and the knife, which is fucking.
That's
great,
really good.
man.
They get the humping, as the director likes
Yeah.
calling it. Like, because she hears a noise, and he checked. Okay, fine. It's like, and he's being a dick about it. It's like, yeah, just do it. Okay, fine. Because he just wants to get the deed done with. And,
Yeah.
and just see nothing there and stuff like that too. That's when some hands come out from under the bed and swipe him under. Now you don't know whose hands those are.
No. And what I love about that scene as well, because you've got the iconic scene of the knife coming up through the bed.
Yeah.
It's on a few of the
That's a weird scene where she almost looks like she's out of breath. She's like that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean, she sat on the bed and this knife is just coming up. It's
I
like
think it goes
really-
through her fingers or something like that, or it comes like
Yeah. But then we find out who it is, like, and obviously it's Fatty, the sexual molester.
Yeah,
He
picks her up by the throat, literally
Yes.
by the throat. She's holding
Yeah.
on, so they had to pry. And the mirror happens to be there, the wall mirror, which I didn't notice until you see that a second time, just up like that, and he's just like holding her. I'm like, damn. So,
But apart from being an opera singer, he was also in the Olympic wrestling.
yes,
team.
he was. He was an Olympic wrestler. Yeah, he looks
So-
like it.
Yeah. So we have many bows, like, so but yeah, so you've got all that going on. This is where I think it turns into like more of a slasher film, because the first part, you do get some kind of like slasher stuff as much. So we get to see the character of Tom for the first time, and he's this guy from the demonstration. He's asked back to go back to dinner with the family.
Yeah, the sister has a thing for him all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like a king, like a spirits kind of converging type of a thing.
Yeah, they they seem to be like in love from day one, basically.
Yeah.
But they asked the police chief as well to go back and have dinner with them.
Right, he introduces himself. Hi, I'm so and so and stuff like that. Shakes his hand. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
to meet you,
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, ask the police chief for dinner. Like, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, then from then on in, it's
The
like,
power's still out while this is going on.
Oh god, yeah. It's like a 24. Might even be like a 24-hour blackout or something.
Yeah.
But so they're all sat, they're all kind of making small talk over the dinner table or whatever. And then they hear noises from outside. And the policeman goes outside, and that's fucking his last mistake, really.
Yeah, he's like right in front of the tree. That's when the arrow spikes.
Yeah,
him.
man. I did not see that coming as well. Like
Lifts
a
him
bow and
up a
arrow.
bit, I think, from the
Yeah.
other scenes. So he's kind of hanging there, I think. But is like it's dark out and all this other stuff too.
Right,
It
and they
looks like
can
he's
see
trying
through
to
the
say
window.
something to him. Like
Yeah,
he's trying
yeah.
to say something to him, but you don't never know what he says, and you're just like,
No. And they see all this happening through the window, so they start to like barricade themselves in the house. And I think another arrow comes through the window as well, which is
it does, which is a great scene. Goes like this is the daughter, like like that. I noticed the dude that was with them is very robotic, like
right, yeah.
With a lot of things, like, and that's when it becomes.
That's where you that's when you twig that it might be
twig like certain stuff together. That's why it's like it's a fight for survival. I love that. Because you don't know if they're in the house or not.
Right, yeah, because they're stalking this house now at this point. And you got Leo McBain. He kind of can't get through on the phone, but like all the phone lines have obviously been cut. He shows up at the house as well to see if everything's okay.
It gets kind of surreal with the conversations that they have in the house, right?
Yeah.
It's really surreal, almost David Lynch-like. The way the conversations go, but that's pretty good. Yeah, Dr. Leo shows up in that.
Pleasant, man. So basically, the preacher turns up and fucking just cuts his ear off.
Right, where he tells them and stuff like that. He's like, they're out there. They're out there and stuff like that. So he calls them. He calls preacher. He's like, it's okay or something like that. I'm here. It's like, I'm here to take you all home or something like that. Everything's fine. Because he mentions that in the film to him. You have to talk to him. Like, you talk to him like, oh, yeah, I see that over there. Yeah. Oh, hello, so-and-so and stuff like that, right? You talk to him like that. Yeah, he comes out basically. He comes out. He's the only one. Comes out of the darkness there. That's done really good.
And he says, Pleasant said something to him, like you said, but he ends up saying, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord."
Yeah,
And I
saith the Lord,
mean,
like in
yeah,
the
take this
Bible, like
fucking
yeah.
year off, man. It's a
That
great
just kind
scene.
of happens too. No blood, nothing like that. He's just
No,
holding a
man, no.
beer. Yeah, like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And he gets in
At
the
this
car. And that's
point,
the last you see of him.
it is, yeah. He does manage to get to the car. But
But it
now,
just
like you say,
dark.
you've got a whole fucking
That's like
home
that's a
invasion.
push button car. It looks like that he's using. It's kind of weird because it looks like he's trying to start. Then you see Preacher come up there with the knife and stuff like that, and he just smiles, and that takes care of that.
Yeah. So Dr. Potts, like I think he goes out to like investigate and see what's going on. But he tells him that Dr. Merton is alive and he's working in another hospital. Because he does actually come on the TV at some point, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So you got the policeman's dead body just fucking comes crashing through the window.
Like
Oh,
Friday
man.
the 13th.
Yeah,
Just
exactly
like Friday the 13th.
Part
There's a
2,
scene
yeah.
too. There's a scene too. He goes into the basement. That's where Preacher's at. Because he's like, there's a fire in the basement. There's a fire in the basement. Okay. He's like, and the wife is begging him not to go down there. It's like, I have to do it, right? She's kind of funny. She's like, don't do it. What are you doing?
But I was going to ask you a question because there's a scene, right? So that the sister Tony, right? So she goes and she sees this dead man, like a zombie, come through the window.
That was created by Tom Savini. That's the only thing that Tom Savini is a part of in this film is creating that. They asked him to do it.
Just that scene, then, yeah.
Yeah, just it looks like Jason Voorhees.
I was going to say to you, who's it supposed to be, or is it just like?
That's the thing, because it's like you don't know about her psychological history. It's like
I was going to
she's
say
like, there was something there. The window was open. He's like, no, it's not. It's okay. That was a long time ago. You're better now, And I was like,
right. I wonder if that was like his nod to like I don't know was it burnt the body or just a zombie? I don't know. Dawn of the Dead.
I think it was like probably a burnt body type of a thing. They showed the stills to that during the extras and stuff like that. The face looked like Jason Voorhees to me. I mean, I'm just saying.
Right. No, that could have been a nod then to Friday the 13th, probably.
Yeah, it could have. You figure out like a little bit. They didn't dive in enough into that, for my opinion, about the sister. Like she obviously has issues.
Yeah.
Like I think she's claustrophobic. But
she's obviously seeing things
because she's afraid of the dark. Like I mean, that's what it means, alone in the dark. So I think that's a phobia that she had initially. So
yeah, because
that's a tricky scene.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. You get all the slasher tropes as well. So you get the babysitter and her boyfriend's dead body falls out of this closet.
Yeah,
like a la Friday the 13th, And then they've entered the basement. These psychopaths, they've all entered the basement. They've set a fire. Like
the preacher sets a fire. He hits him with the fire extinguisher, and then he
Potts attacks him. Then he
douses everything out, and then goes back in there.
He says basically, "I'm gonna get the car ready. Once it's ready,
F this stuff. I'm getting the car ready. We're getting out of here."
Yeah. And Lila then she sees Fatty basically coming towards her, and I think she like slices his fucking knees. And then Tom like meat cleavers him to the back.
Yeah,
which is brutal, that scene as well.
Then he takes a bat.
Baseball bat to the head.
Yeah, baseball bat. And you see the look on his face. I'm like going,
yeah.
And then he got that look that he has to the girl or to the family, like he's like sad or whatever like that. He's like that, and then he died. They're like,
yeah. I mean, that's where, like, even up to that point, like, I didn't think I'd guess the bleeder, but then we're about to find out.
We're about to find out.
I think the bleeder is probably one of the best twists I've seen in a slasher film. One of them. I'm not saying it's the best, but yeah. So she looks around, then she's the babysitter. Not the babysitter, the sister. And she sees Tom and his nose starts to bleed, and then they just fucking realize that.
Well, before that, Preacher ends up coming.
Go on.
Before that, I think Preacher comes back in there and stuff like that, and he gets knifed in the back. I think. Like that. Then he gets thrown through the door again. That's the last you see of him, and stuff like that.
Right.
It's basically this
because the mother knifes
This scene right here, and then
knifes
he
the
just
bleed.
like just pushes him back, and then that's all you
Yeah.
see of him. But yeah,
Yeah, because the preacher, that's right, because he jumps out and he's stabbed by Dr. Potts.
yeah,
Frank turns up Palance with a fucking crossbow, which is crazy, man.
yeah. That's right. You
and
see her like hugging the dude, right?
Yeah.
Where you see the
Yeah.
blood trickling down, and you're wondering what's going on. Then you see him, and you're like, "Oh shit, it's the bleeder," and he just
Right.
takes her like this, like
Then they
automatically. He's like,
fucking
"Oh god,"
know.
he sees blood, he'll start doing it, and then they stab him too in the back. My God, yeah, they do. They kill him like in the back or something. Yeah, it's right.
So
They
that's
like
the
stab
scene
him.
that I was mentioning earlier. So
Yeah,
they see, like, basically, this Harry Merton, the doctor that used to be their doctor, comes on screen on the TV, and then kind of Dr. Potts tells Palance Frank, then who's got this crossbow,
it's like, look, it's him.
says,
It's him. He tells him to be quiet so he can.
and he
walk.
just fucking Frank just like accepts it and just walks away, like as if like
he destroys the TV with the crossbow, and then he
yeah,
Then he stops in front of them. He's like,
as if like he got this moment where I can't kill this family, like, you know, as if he's gone staying again or something. I don't
because
know.
he's the one that took off the sheriff with the crossbow and all this other stuff, because he's colonel. You know, he has this military background, and he says, he's like, because, you know, the doctor says on the TV is like going, you know, called psychopaths. We call them voyeurs. You know, that's what they want to be called. And then he's taken aback. Palance's character is taken aback from that trippy scene. I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
Oh, it's great. It's great. But I think the ending to this is one of the best I've ever seen. It's so off the wall. It's like you just don't. So Frank then, he shows up at this Sick Fucks concert, right? He beats the shit out of the guy on the door.
Yeah, because he wants money. He's like, I got money, get in. Yeah, he takes the back of his head and just goes boom, boom.
This is just completely fucking off the wall, compared to all the other parts of the film. This is like makes no sense at all, but
no,
it's brilliant. So yeah, he pulls a gun on this punk girl, and she thinks he's like
that
playing around.
Them. It's like they're kindred spirits and stuff like that.
And he's like 60 and she's like 20 odd or something. But the way it ends is weird, like, because they just laugh and it ends like as
he puts the gun to her and she opens her mouth like she's laughing. I'm like, oh damn, like this and stuff like that. That's where it ends.
And then you got the Sick Fucks. They're playing Rock or Die, which I love as well.
Yeah, Rock or Die.
The credits roll, and then you've got the theme, which is really kind of melancholic. It's like really doesn't go with the film at all. But I love it. It's like The Burning in a way. I like the same track to The Burning. And that final scene is like no other scene you'll ever see, like in a slasher film. It is so fucking off the wall, but I love it. I love the film, man. I love this film in general. I think it's one of the best kind of sleepers out there, because even though it's starting to get recognition now, it's still not getting talked about like the likes of Friday the 13th, The Burning, The Prowler, and all those, which flabbergasts me again, because it's as good as all them. I think it's definitely in the conversation of all them.
Yeah, definitely put it in that conversation. Like I say, the films of this time, to your point, Darren, the slashers of this time, the 80s, you know, the early 80s, this was it. This was the time, you know, where you get the top tier stuff and just go back to it and go back to it. This is highly rewatchable to me. Like I say, if there's terror in it and if it's disturbing, I'm going to watch it. This is disturbing. I give this gets another strong 8 out of 10 for me. This is top tier slasher in my opinion. These are essential slashers. This is essential slasher watching material. Definitely.
It's high end slasher. Yeah, it's a 9 for me again. That's never gonna change, you know. I do love the whole atmosphere. You know, it's very dark in places. The whole look of the sets with the house and all that. You know, the actual mental hospital, and of course the characters. I think every single character, or actor, I should say, just nails it. Even to the young girl, I think she's fantastic. So I don't think she did many films or anything afterwards. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Alone in the Dark. I just wish I'd have seen it when I was, really young. Like,
I know, right? Yeah, it's like
it's a
I
little
said,
bit later to this one.
yeah. But definitely, this highly watchable. Granted, it's a Scream Factory. This is probably one of the better releases they ever did. For a film specifically like this. With this, cool to get with the slip
Yeah,
and
and
great special features. And can you ask for
get it while you can, because, like I say, some of these Screams factory ones do go
Oh,
out of print.
specifically with these ones, yeah, with this slip right here, and gotta love the original artwork for it and stuff like that. So it's iconic stuff. But yeah, that's.
But you won't go far wrong. I'm trying to think of what company did this DVD. But if Image,
Image did.
you get a chance to get this for $4 or $5, right? It's worth it for the extras alone. So I would say it's nice to have it as a companion piece to the Blu-ray.
Very nice. Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Yeah, excellent. Thank you all for joining us for these two badass slashers here. I think we did a good enough job explaining.
I hope people
these.
who haven't seen them will come back and watch this and then get the urge to go out and check them out, because I think they're high end slashers.
Definitely high end. So what do you have coming up there this weekend there, Darren?
Right, so me and Dirk on Subjective Perspective Collective, we're going to be doing with Giro Diodato, we're going to be doing 3 of his films. Cannibal Holocaust, Ace on the Edge of the Park, and The Washing Machine, which we thought we'd throw in like, a little kind of kooky one with The Washing Machine, because I know it's not great, but I think it's going to be fun.
I think that's on Tubi.
I think Dirk, seen it on some streaming site, I think, because you don't own it. Basically, and then I don't think I've got anything coming then next week. So I kind of have a break then, and then me and Dirk could do something the following weekend. And then I got Eurocult, so keep a lookout for that with on the Dead Pit channel.
Heck yeah.
I have got stuff coming up with Visited by Voices Network as well. A lot of it's been pre-recorded, so I don't know when they're gonna come online, but keep a lookout for that as well. Go and subscribe to obviously our channel, Visited by Voices Network, Dead Pit, going in all the guys in the chat as well, Anthony's Horrors and More, basically all them. Just go and subscribe, and it's a decent little community we got going,
Yes, we do. Great community, great people here. And we're all sick fucks that like slashers and horror and Giallo and the Giallo. Terror Tuesday.
I mean, Giallo's still my number one, but slashers,
definitely.
And Italian crime films now. I fucking into them now.
Please, your testy. Please, your testy. Definitely. I totally agree with that. So happy you guys introduced me to that. That's a banger. Years of Lead set. That's.
I've seen 3 of them. So we're going to be obviously try and cover that at some point. But
absolutely.
Like you say, some of those films, Almost Human was the one that got me into them. That fucking film is incredible.
Great stuff. For me, whoa. Let's see. Like I say, Terror Tuesday, probably next week, will be Renfield. Nicolas Cage playing Dracula and stuff like that. I did a poll on YouTube and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing the Terror Tuesdays in order of those films. One of those is Ebola Syndrome. So keep an eye out for that one for a future Terror Tuesday. All the Colors of the Slasher Dude, episode 0. That's going to be live. Like I say, my top 10 Giallo of all time, my opinion. That's going to be done in 2 parts. So
that's going to be hard to do, man.
First 5, part 2, last 5. We'll see how that goes and stuff like that. That's always going through my head. What's I know. Like I said, I know what the top 3 are. Those are not going away whatsoever. So expect that in the near future. Then Slasher Stream. We're officially starting a Slasher Dudes Slasher Stream, Summer Slashback series here of film. So next Slasher Streams, me and Darren are going to be talking about Slaughter High.
Can't wait, man. Yeah, love that film.
And Return to Horror High with George Clooney in a quick part in this.
Which I've not seen in forever, so it's going to be like watching a new film for me.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly get in that I did a podcast with Richard on Hello, This is the Doom Show. You can get it on YouTube. Where we covered the Giallo film Puzzle. from
Very nice.
1974. Sorry, Chris, I didn't want to go.
No. I've heard
it.
about that film. I need to check that one out. Definitely.
You'd like it.
Yeah, and then something geeky in the collection. That'll be sometime next week. I have early days off for next week and stuff like that too. So, Jane, I know if you're still in the chat, definitely. I need to watch those films. So I have some films to watch for that. So expect that sometime next week or the week prior. I'll get that done with my geeky brothers, Jeff and Guy. So expect that in the future. And then, just future content, future slasher streams, and just some fun stuff. Calm the hell down hauls and whatever I'm kind of doing. I am taking a step back from that. I did just recently order some stuff, and then some pre-orders coming in, and then unfortunately I'm done for a while. So I'm trying to make that a goal for myself.
Did you order the Sally? You got the case of the bloody Iris 4K order?
No, not yet. That's coming from Diabolic. I put that up on Instagram. It's like finally got a shipping notification. So,
man, yeah. From what
those to come in,
I've seen the print of it, and it's amazing. But check out, because we got a review of that as well. So check out that.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about bringing back my Giallo showcase where I do my thoughts and review on those films. So expect that in the near future. Fulci Friday, future Fulci Friday, will be on Woman in a Lizard Skin. So we're gonna watch that for the first time, and then after that one, next Fulci Friday will be Enigma. So expect that stuff in the future. So like I said, I have stuff planned, and I'd like to thank everybody again for getting me to 200 subscribers. Slasher Nerd is humbled. This is all I do is talk and have fun with my cohorts here about everything slasher, anime, geeky, freaky, horror, whatever you can think of. It's just a great time, and I'd like to thank everybody again for joining. And like I say, I am Chris C, the Slasher Dude. That's Mr. Darren Burrows of Subjective Perspective Collective. Check out their channel. They do great stuff. Check out my channel. I do great stuff. Check out people's channels that have been in the chat. Gizmo's doing a stream right now with Anthony and stuff like that too. And then Brad later on tonight on his channel, 4K10 Revival, is doing a stream. Check that one out. Their favorite physical releases in their collection that they really cherish. So check that one out. Should be great stuff. Anyway, I'm Chrissy, the Slasher Dude. That's Darren. You all have a great evening. Enjoy the weekend coming up. And happy Father's Day to everybody. And we'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a great day, evening, whatever like that. And collect slashers, man. Watch them.
Have a good one, guys.